Hello and welcome to another video. So this is an OTK Wildfang Dragonute Dragon deck. It is running the new Dragonplate Warrior card, which I have quite enjoyed using. It's definitely a fun card and gets you that little bit of chip damage that really just helps you out. It's also running a lot of interesting cards with things like Force of Dragonute, Dragonrend Quake, Avowed Strike, all very interesting cards for this deck. Of course, the Triple Altered Fate and things like that. And being an unlimited deck, it isn't really restricted by what we can run, so that's always great. We're going to get right into this deck and check it out. Okay, so first up is Daria Rune. In this case, obviously they don't have to be playing Daria, but
Time to shine,
most of the time people tend to be, you know. Daria and D-Shift probably still the two most popular unlimited decks when it comes to the format, so it's not going to be surprising with either of those. This deck, on the other hand, is a little tricky to use as a dragon deck because you do want to get as much damage bursts as you can. Of course, taking advantage of your cards is great, but really it's the ramp that you want to be able to do that's your biggest advantage. Being able to ramp up high, get things like the Dragonplate Warrior out on curve, and be able to have your instant follow-up with kills and Altered Fate. Altered Fate, that's what I was looking for as a word. So of course that doesn't mean you're going to be able to get everything, but it's definitely a nice way to go. This hand is almost perfect. Wildfang, Altered, Dragonplate Warrior already in hand. A easy way to be able to boost up our play points as well with dragons, which is great. As you can see, they're definitely going for it, which is going to give us that extra play point, which is great for us. Fortunately, we don't have any way to use it effectively yet, because we're not going to just throw out the Wildfang just for any old reason. We definitely want to be playing it to get an advantage out of it, so why not just wait and hold off until we can get that advantage that we're looking for. There is the Consecration and a Magic Owl. Not the most impressive cards at all, but definitely things you want to be careful of. So we are now ramped up to 7, which is awesome. And Dragon Oracle is going to allow us to go to 9 for next turn, and we can use Dragoon Scyther to get in that just little bit of damage that we're going to want. And since Evolves aren't the biggest factor in this deck, using them to get Storm damage is a pretty fair use. So really, we just need to be able to push this a little bit, and we should be okay. And Dragonplate Warrior does a great job of being a good threat, especially with double Wildfang and an Altered Fate in hand. Almost an ideal hand at this point. We'll be able to get a massive amount of damage out of this. Unfortunately, Wind Blast does remove our massive ward, so we can't quite go for lethal, but we will be very close. So double Wildfang plus the Altered Fate. If we could get into another Altered, which we did, we do have at least a chance. So that was a nice 9 damage. The extra Wildfang plus the Altered Fate will be lethal for us, just thanks to the Dragonplate Warrior's 1 damage from playing a non-follower card. And the Dragonfang's just pinging the damage nicely there. So our next game is also against Rune. This time I'm pretty sure it was of the Daria variety. The last one was a pretty obvious spell boost type Rune deck, sorry. And this dragon deck unfortunately doesn't have very positive matches overall. It's definitely just an interesting deck to play. I've had a lot of trouble getting the wins that I did get for this video, so do keep that in mind if you plan on playing it. But if you do have the cards and you've got the time and just want to try something a little bit different from the old PDK and Ramp Dragon decks, I would definitely recommend giving this one a shot. So Emissary, pulling us our Civil for 4. Emissary is actually a really nice card to use on Dragonplate Warrior because it allows you to get it out on 7, which is a much better play than on 8. A 7-drop 7/7 with the leader effect is just amazing. And it's most of the reason you're running Emissary. Emissary can also pull, of course, Sybil and the Draconic Fervor, which is great as well. Fervor for 4 is actually pretty reasonable. I actually really like having that card. But we are at 5 points now. I'm going for the Civil play, mainly because we get the ramp and can deal with this owl effectively. Although Draconic Fervor would have been a pretty acceptable play as well.
A blue piece at the dance's end.
But Wind Blast, going for it.
The dance ends.
Not shocked at all by that Wind Blast. You can pretty much expect them from Rune these days. They're a pretty stock standard card.
Running away is okay.
But, of course, we lose our board out, but that's okay. Dragonplate Warrior is going to be our turn 8, and if we could just get a Dragon Ute, we would have an amazing hand. Another Fiery Embrace, so they're really using their removal now, which is good for us. Making sure their removal is gone is going to help us out big time in the long run.
No! Unbelievable!
And we have some pretty nice cards. So Dragoon Scyther gets to come down. We do get to use our Draconic Fervor just to kind of go for our draws. Unfortunately, we are at this point really decking ourselves quite hard, just because we don't have any other decent options, and getting as many cards out of the deck as I can seems to be my best line of play. Fortunately, it does mean we're risking burning some Dragon Utes, but I'm willing to take that risk. So our opponent goes for Magic Missile. It appears that it's probably actually a D-Shift. First, I was leaning towards Daria. I've played that many matches with this deck so far, and most of them were Rune, so it's not surprising to get them a little confused before we actually see them played out. So there is one Altered Fate burned, which, yeah, it's not great, but it's not the worst either. And at this point, we're really just freeing up hand space. The Avowed Strikes and the Force of Dragon Utes are pretty decent. We have plenty of removal. Really, at this point, we just need to get the damage. Draconic is a good option, and there is our Wild Fang Dragon Ute, and with an Altered Fate, that is going to give us more than enough for lethal. So all we needed was to pull one of those, and we did quite nicely.
Impressive.
We would have had more than enough to just clean up this game. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. This dragon deck has been a lot of fun to play. Of course, even when it doesn't win, it's still enjoyable to at least give it a go. Of course, if you are someone who's more focused on winning, I would recommend some of my other unlimited decks. You can find all those in the unlimited playlist anyway, so be sure to check those out. And I will catch you guys next time. Hit that like button and subscribe. Deck list description below, and I'll see ya. Bye.